Sven,
I'm Julia.
and today we're talking about
The Planet Magazine.
and here we are.
Hi.
Hi, Julia.
Hello.
How are you? How's your summer?
You know what? It's been such a great summer for me. I'm doing the summer quarter right now. We're filming this during week 5 of 6 of the summer quarter, so I'm almost done. Thank God. It's really funny because I was here last summer for the summer quarter as well, and it's kind of like a night and day difference because I was absolutely miserable last summer, but I've been having just like so much fun this summer just because more people are around, and I'm also really liking the classes I'm taking, so it's like I'm just having a lot more fun this summer, I
Well,
think.
what classes are you taking, Julia?
Taking photojournalism with Joe Gosen, who is like a really great guy, and he's so freaking funny, and I didn't know that when I first met him. I was like really intimidated by him at first. And then I'm taking a class called Emerging Communication Technology, where basically I make a business and I run it for the duration of the quarter. And then I'm in
Cool.
yeah, it is cool. But it's also like takes up way too much of my time, and I'm also taking media studies. I'm finishing out my comm minor, so yeah.
Nice. I'm not taking summer classes, but that's different for me because
Yeah.
the last 3 summers I've taken
Oh yeah, that's
summer
right.
classes.
Yeah,
And I have just 1 quarter left. And so having a little break before that
yeah, that must be nice.
feels nice.
Yeah,
It gives me more time to do
stuff like this.
stuff like this. But where are you? I feel like you told me this before, but where are you from? What brought you to Western?
So I'm from a subdivision of Everett, Washington. I'm from a town called Mill Creek.
Mm-hmm.
I came up to Western initially because of their English department, because
Mm-hmm.
they had a really great English department. And when I first came up here, I was going to major in creative writing. Obviously, that has
Changed.
wildly changed since I've been here. But yeah, that's the main reason why I came up here. Also, I had like a lot of friends from my high school coming up here, so it was just kind of like the perfect little trifecta of just me being here. And now I love it here, and I never want to leave.
Nice. How fun.
Yeah.
And so I guess what got you into journalism? If you were going to do creative writing, was it that sounds like kind of a natural transition?
Yeah. I took journalism 207, which is like the absolute like bare minimum
writing.
journalism class. Yeah, news writing, which is like the bare minimum journalism class that it's like the first one that you take in the sequence. And I fell in love with it, and I was like, never mind, this is what I'm gonna do. This, I want this. And yeah, I mean, I've kind of like changed tracks a whole bunch throughout my time here, but I'm solely stuck on news ed. I want that. That's all I want to do is just report. I like reporting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a journalism minor, as you know, and I'm a news ed minor, and I love news ed.
It's so much fun. It really is.
I haven't been a reporter for the Front in 2 years, but it was.
Have you done
awesome
Calypso
experience.
yet?
Doing it next quarter.
Oh, you last one. Is that your last journalism class?
Yes.
How does that feel?
Feels good.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to kind of come up with some story ideas
Yeah.
this coming month so I can hit the ground running.
Do you know what the theme is? Have they shared that yet?
No.
Has that been shared yet?
No.
Mm.
Not as far as I know.
Darn.
But I feel like I'll just come up with ideas.
I think you're going to do
anyway,
great.
and then I'll just see if I can make it work.
I think you're going to do great.
Yeah, thank you. The managing editor for next quarter is Talia Coulter.
Oh,
who's
really?
Great, and she was one of my reporters.
I
a
didn't
year
know
ago
that.
When I was a campus news editor.
Oh, wow.
And she was on campus news.
That's like a full circle moment for you. Kind
It
of.
is a full circle moment. The rest of the team, Morgan Merriam was on that team. She's editor-in-chief at the Front.
Yeah.
Next quarter. Mia Limberlei was also on that team, and she is interning right now and was a editor on the Front for a long time.
I think she's coming back to the Front.
Yeah, the community is really strong.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite parts about working. I mean, I guess I'm on my way out now.
I'm also on my way out. It's my last year.
But yeah, but that was one of my favorite parts about working in the journalism department. I guess I'm kind of back in it now with being on Calypso for the fall.
Yeah.
But fun stuff. Great people.
Really great people. I love everyone in the journalism department. It's so fun how you kind of like go through the sequence of like the entire like journalism sequence with like a group of people. It's like the people that were in my reporting class are the people that I'm now going through the rest of the sequence with, which I think is really fun because it's like you get your little buddies, you get your little group.
All the people, I'm fairly certain all of the people who were in my reporting class are now graduated.
Really?
Yeah, Desi was in my reporting class.
Oh yeah.
Or sorry,
okay.
not reporting. 214. Front 214.
Huh. That's
Sam
so wild to think about.
Christopherson was in that class with me. Janelle.
Like Sam, the EIC of my Bellingham now.
Yes.
That one. We met him. I met him for the first time.
So did.
Very cool guy.
Yeah, it was a big year. But yeah, so moving on from that, I wish I hadn't given back my key to the front office.
If you want to get into the front office, come by the Planet office, and if I'm in there, I'll let you into the front.
I know.
Because we have a door that connects.
Trust me, I have ways of getting
You have
into
your
the front,
ways.
but
we just got the Calypso door open, so now all three of like the big publications are now interconnected. We can just go visit each other, and it makes me really happy because we were fighting for so long to get that door open, and then Colleen, who is one of our advisors in the journalism department, was just like, "Yeah, I'll lock it for you," and we all like had a big celebration. And then Desi came in, and she was like, "What is this? This is amazing!" Yeah, because that door's it's all one office. It really is. Yeah.
Yeah, so good stuff indeed. It's bittersweet ending off, but a lot of great folks.
Yeah.
That are running it.
Yeah.
When were you first involved with the Planet? Was it this year or this
year?
Last year?
It was fall of 2023. Fen is holding the Planet magazine, which is our anthology issue. I think the really unique thing about about the Planet is, in comparison to, the front has like a continuous stream of publications online, and Calypso publishes every quarter. The Planet only publishes once a year, and we have all of like the best of the best come in from spring to winter. And yeah, so that's the plan. This is our most recent anthology. It's like I consider this thing like my child because of how much blood, sweat, and tears went into this. But yeah, I love this little publication. I became involved with it honestly because I needed a job, because I saw it on the job board and I was like, okay, sure.
Works for me.
Works for me. I did not think I was gonna get it. I thought there was gonna be way more people more qualified for that position. But lo and behold, here I am. I got it. So, and now I'm going to be editor-in-chief starting in the fall, which is really exciting. Yeah. Yeah.
What are some of your goals for the publication? What do you want to accomplish while you're the editor-in-chief?
That's a loaded question. It's our 45-year anniversary as a publication.
Wow.
But it's also... Okay, we're confirming this, but I'm actually going to call the archivist today. It may also be our 150th edition of the Planet, like in print.
You're going to call the archivist?
Yeah. That's the archivist. The archivist, like the Washington State archivist. That's who Jeff told me to go. Jeff is our faculty advisor.
Right, so you're going to the archivist, the Washington State archivist for Western.
Yeah, just to like...
Do you know what his name is?
No. Nope, do you?
I do.
Oh, okay.
You wanted to know, his first name is Tony.
Tony? Do you know his last name?
Kurtz.
Kurtz?
He's my dad.
Oh. I didn't know that. Okay. It's his dad. Hey, can you do me a favor and ask him how many freaking Planet editions there are? I'll do it myself. I'm going to do it myself.
And it's going to be like...
I was like, I was just on a podcast with your son.
Yeah.
Yeah, your name got brought up. I just thought I'd check. So yeah, I think... Going back to like the original question.
Right, sorry.
Yeah, no. That's we got sidetracked.
It was pretty funny.
It is really funny.
Anyway.
But yeah, it may potentially be our 150th edition, and I think like the big thing that Jeff and we had like this Jeff Shaw is our new faculty advisor for the Planet, and once I got named as our editor-in-chief for the upcoming year, my predecessor, is that the right word? No, I'm her predecessor.
Predecessor.
Yeah, predecessor Riley.
You're her successor.
I'm her successor. Thank you. Yeah, Riley Weeks and Eli Loomis and Jeff and I, we all like sat down and had dinner together and basically just talked about what we want for this publication, what we want for the future year upcoming. And Jeff and I have been working really closely together to make something that's going to be, I think it's going to be so great. A big thing that we're kind of changing is that we're bringing in more guest speakers and more like people of the BIPOC community, because a big thing that I noticed throughout my time as an editor, was like all of the guest speakers that came in were white males, and I was like, that was the first thing I wanted to change. I was like, let's get in more people from the BIPOC community. Let's bring in people from the Indigenous community. I want people from the Lummi Nation to talk to us, which I actually think Jeff is arranging for us, which is
That's wonderful.
Really great. But yeah, I want more people be able to see themselves in like our guest speakers, if that makes any sense. Just because it's so important, I think, in journalism to kind of be able to have like someone you can look up to and like have like not a mentor, but just like someone that you can really admire.
Right.
And so I think that's something that Jeff and I are working really hard on, and I'm really excited for that. We're also not doing the podcast anymore. We used to do podcasts quarterly, and writers and editors notoriously hated them because it was like they had a week and a half to do it during finals week and like dead week.
Not convenient.
Not convenient. So we're getting rid of those, and I'm kind of excited about that. And instead, I think they're doing media packages for their stories, which I think could be really great. But yeah, those are like some of the big things coming up for the Planet. We're gonna have an epic release party. Like, I don't care if it's not our 150th edition, we're gonna have an epic release party.
45 years.
45 years.
Cool.
That's a great accomplishment. But Jeff and I both like looked at each other. We were like, release party, that's happening. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Planet. Just the future of it all. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What for people that don't know, what kind of what kind of stories did this edition cover? Like what are some of its what are some specific stories that that the Planet staff has covered really well in the past?
Yeah.
And what do you have any ideas of specific stories that you want to cover in the future? Of course, not giving too much away. But,
yeah.
But what maybe specifics that you have in mind?
And in this edition, honestly, I think something that we did really well was covering a lot of Indigenous topics. Our friend Eli Voorhees,
Good friend.
Yeah, very good friend. I honestly think this is like my favorite story in this edition, and I might be slightly biased because he is my friend, but he just did such a great job with this. He covered story pole carving, or totem poles, as I guess more people commonly may know them, and kind of like the balancing act of like tradition and also like modernism, and how to like find that balance. And he did. Actually, I think we were a finalist for an SPJ award for this story. And he just absolutely knocked it out of the park with this. And we also had another story, also in this one. Do you know who Tokate is?
The orca.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we did a lot of extensive coverage on Tokate, and this was kind of like our very last story on her, which was like she was laid to rest. They had like a whole celebration of life, which I felt very honored that I got. She wasn't even my writer. She was not in my group, but I took her and her photographer in that group to Friday Harbor so that they could attend the ceremony, and it ended up being a 16-hour day, but it was so worth it. So yeah, those are like a lot of the ones that I really love that we covered. There's also, I think, honestly, the best stories that I've seen in my time as a story editor are in the spring edition, which is coming out next year. Just coming out next year. We had...
So it'll include stories from spring quarter.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there were so many unique stories on there. Like, one of our writers who now is an editor, which is so exciting. He wrote about something called solar punk. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's creative nonfiction, environmental creative nonfiction. And it's like the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Solar punk is in like steampunk.
Yeah.
But environmental. Ooh, that's interesting.
I know, it's really interesting. And now he's joining our editing team, so I'm so excited for him. But yeah, we also, it's like things like those that I really love about The Planet. We are the only undergrad environmental science publication in the country, which is...
Wow.
I'll never forget your face when I first told you that. You were like, what? What do you mean? And I was like, yeah, we're the only one.
That is shocking to me.
Yeah, it is.
It's awesome. Like, it's not
so
bad.
awesome.
It's not bad shocking. But it's, well, maybe it's bad in the sense I think there should be programs like this at many other places.
Probably should,
but that's still incredible.
Yeah.
It makes me feel proud of this
Absolutely.
publication for being running for 45 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I think behind, it's the Front or Calypson, we may be the second longest running one, I think.
The Front is the longest.
Then I think we're after the Front.
The Front has been running for over 100 years.
Really?
It's changed names several times, but yes.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Huh.
Yes.
Learn something new every day.
I mean, in the sense that you should ask my dad would know more.
I'll ask your dad. I'll call him up today or tomorrow.
But there's been a student-run newspaper at Western of some sort since at least the 1900s, early 19-aughts.
That's so crazy.
And I assume that when different name transitions happened, that the infrastructure stayed in place.
Yeah.
That's my assumption, because it's been as far as I know, it's been continuous.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So take that what you will.
I'll ask your dad.
But that being said, I mean, a newspaper is one thing, but like 45 years of this kind of type of magazine is nothing to sniff at. That's really awesome.
Yeah, and I feel like I could go on a whole tangent about this.
Right.
The Planet so in the journalism department, I think like the big three are the Front, Calypson, and the Planet, and that's because they have classes associated with them.
They are the three. I don't really know. Are there any other publications?
Occam's Razor, Jeopardy, but they don't have classes associated with them.
You're right.
And I would say that the Planet is the smallest one out of those three, but it's also the one that people don't talk enough about.
Well, we should say the reason for that is because if you're a journalism major or a journalism minor, so I'm a journalism minor,
right?
And I have taken two separate quarters of the Front and a quarter of Calypson. It's a requirement.
This one isn't mandatory.
And the Planet is not mandatory, exactly.
But I think right now, because what's tricky about this is that it's also kind of involved with the environmental science department, and they're in the process right now of trying to make this more mandatory for journalism and environmental science majors, which that's the big reason why Jeff Shaw became our new faculty advisor. As opposed to Eli, because they want someone with a journalism background to start leading the Planet, which, we loved Eli so much. He was our faculty advisor for 2 years, but in the long term, we all understood why that was happening. But in the moment, we were like really upset. I still am kind of upset about it, but I love Jeff. He's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but that speaks to something where I think the Planet's awesome. In a perfect world, I would have loved to take the Planet.
Yeah.
But it's not required, and I have other things that I do. So myself, and I'm sure many other people who appreciate the Planet for what it is, don't get involved just because it doesn't really make sense to.
Yeah. That sadly is the truth. That's why we see the majority of the people who take the Planet are not journalism majors. They're environmental science majors. I think like the only track where the Planet is mandatory is if you take environmental journalism. If that's your track, then this is mandatory.
Right, which makes sense.
Oh yeah.
You've taken Calypson?
Mm-mm.
No.
This is so funny. So when I became an editor, in the fall, Eli took this as a class, and he was in the Planet office one day, and he asked me, he was like, have you written for the Front? And at the time I was like, no. He was like, have you taken Calypson? And I was like, no. Have you taken reporting? No. I've done literally everything in the exact opposite order that we're meant to.
Wait, have you taken reporting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I have now. I've taken the front and reporting now.
Did you take reporting before the front?
Yes.
Good.
That's why I think I did so well in the front. Yeah.
I took reporting before. I took reporting and editing before the front.
Whew.
And very glad I did.
Yeah.
Really set me up for success because I had Carolyn Nielsen for reporting.
I also had Carolyn Nielsen for
and
reporting.
I had Professor O'Donovan
Oh, that's lucky for editing.
for editing. So I
love
had
O'Donovan.
a good setup.
I love O'Donovan so much. Yeah, that's a really good setup, honestly. Yeah. Yeah.
And so have you taken 314?
I'm taking it in the fall.
That's right.
Yeah.
You told me that.
Yeah. But in 214, I covered the WAWU strike. The workers.
Well, you had a lot to cover.
Yeah.
Last quarter.
For
people that don't
yeah.
go to Western, or you should say you reported on it.
Yeah, so for people who don't go to Western, WAWU is the Workers Association, is the Western Student Workers Association union. It's their union. And this past
specifically academic
yes,
workers.
Yeah.
So
well, there's operational now too. We're bargaining to get recognized by the university.
Right, but at the time, this was only academic workers. So these were like TAs, tutors, that sort of thing. So
tour guides,
but not like cafeteria staff.
Well, that's completely different because they're not associated with Western.
Well, then not like I don't know, building maintenance.
Well, like us, like publication.
Us.
Yeah, if you work on a publication, you're considered an operational student employee, not an educational student employee.
Which that's odd, but
I know, right?
Anyway,
I could go, yeah, but
so there was this union.
Yes, yeah, and they have been fighting for all of the past academic year to get recognized by the school. They got recognized by the school, and then they started working on to build a better contract.
Right.
That gives them a livable wage, which is something that we should all be entitled to.
Mm-hmm.
And just more benefits and things like that. And our school did not, at the time, budge well with them, so they went on strike.
They struck for 2 days.
2 days. I was betting on it taking for like the majority of the week because they started striking on Wednesday. I was so prepared for them to be striking until like Monday. I was so ready for it just because of all like the chatter I'd heard from the bargaining members were like, yeah, the school's not budging. This isn't happening. So yeah, that was a big chunk of what I covered for my 214 career, which is a lot to do as like a first time like actual reporter working for a publication.
And at the same time, there was an encampment on the lawn.
At the same time, there was an encampment, yeah.
Old Main, which is our administration building.
Yeah.
And it was a big encampment.
It was huge. Huge. Yeah.
And there was like a joint march, and there was
I covered that.
A lot going on.
Yeah, there really was.
Going on.
And I think my head was spinning for like the second half of that quarter. I think my hair was on fire for most of it.
You were covering all of it.
I was remember at our bake sale, I was like, I gotta go, I gotta run.
Because there was a huge march all throughout the.
And I was like, I gotta go cover it. Bye guys, I'm so sorry. Bye.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was up at 5 a.m. the first day for the 5 a.m. pickup line start, and I stayed until 5 p.m. So I was there for the long haul, but it wasn't just me. I have to make that clear that it wasn't just me reporting on it. My good friend Austin was also reporting on it. Him and I were kind of like the duo that Austin was kind of like our head reporter, and then I was kind of like his second in command if he needed anything. And then also a writer Bodie and our photographers Peyton and Adam. They were all just so instrumental in our coverage of it. And I'll never forget this on like my last story that I was doing with like the strike stuff. It was after they got in the contract and they were going through in town hall. I was getting quotes, and then one of the bargaining members, I think her name was, no, it wasn't Selena. I can't remember her name. Oh, dang. I can't remember her name, but she was like, I just want to thank you guys, from the front for all the work you guys have been doing. We feel like you're the only sort of news outlet that has really been covering us truly and honestly and fairly because you guys are students and you guys are like on those front lines and you understand it better than these people do. And so we really appreciate you guys' work that you guys have done for us. And that's the kind of thing that's gonna stick with me forever, or for like a really long time. Just like that first really like, I'm doing good. You know what I mean? Yeah, that was a really amazing learning experience for me. But it was also, like I said, really stressful, and I was really tired by the end of it. But it's all okay now.
Yeah.
Then also at the time I was applying for editor-in-chief of the Planet too, so I was literally just like all over the place. I was just kind of like a pinball.
That's the thing that I don't think anything could have prepared me for, was how overwhelming journalism can feel.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to deal with anything near, the avalanche, the cascade of stuff that you did.
Yeah.
But it's a lot.
It is.
It is a lot, and it's a lot to manage as a reporter and as an editor.
Yeah.
And it really depends on teamwork.
Really. Yeah, it really truly does. I don't think we would have gotten our stories as quickly as we did without, like Aislinn Jones, our managing editor at the time, and even Jack, our friend Jack Glenn, who was my copy editor, and also Andrew Foster, who was the EIC at the time. Had it not been for like those editors, I don't think we would have gotten our stuff out nearly as fast as we did. So thank you to you guys. Yeah.
Seriously. It's a hard job.
It's not for everyone, not for the faint of heart. No way. But
no, it's not.
It's worth it. It's
very fulfilling.
It really is. And I mean, like with the Planet, a lot of the time we're seeing people who aren't journalism majors, and so they have no experience in like writing journalistically. They don't really know AP style. They don't really understand it. And seeing, those people who really take the time to like build up their stories and work at it and make this really great final product, and then seeing how happy they are when, we're like, hey, you guys are getting published. It's like unlike anything else, because
it's amazing.
You just feel so much pride for them, because it's like, you helped them get up there. And yeah, I feel really, really thankful that I get to work with such great publications all over the place, all over Western.
Seriously.
It's so cool. Like, we're so cool.
We are, yeah, it's a really vibrant journalism environment.
Yeah.
With a really great staff behind it. For the Planet, it's the summer right now. What are you doing to prepare? What are you doing to get ready for because it's here's the other thing that's unique about the Planet, is that editor and editor-in-chief positions alike on the front clips are 1 quarter. Not so for the Planet. 1 year.
1 year. 2 years. I mean, you can go up until you graduate, honestly, for like story editors.
Right.
Some of our story editors are like here for their second year now.
But like they rehire, correct?
No.
They just stay on?
Yeah, they just stay on.
Oh, okay. No, never mind. But does editor-chief have to change every year?
No. I mean, yes,
Like,
they do.
they
They do.
rehire
Yes,
every year? Okay.
I mean, I didn't have to stay on for the year, but I want to. So
Okay.
I'm going.
Editor-in-chief rehires every year
by Student Publications
versus
Council.
every quarter for other. So, what does that preparation look like for a whole year of content and construction of a magazine?
It's he's gonna sneeze. He's gonna do it.
It went away. Why did you say anything?
I'm sorry.
Oh, you put me on the spot.
I'm sorry, Finn.
You put me on the spot like the germ crawled back up my nose.
Yeah, so I feel like my work really started as soon as they hired me, is kind of like
Sure.
the way I saw it. And what's really funny is that I feel like there was kind of like a series of like chain events that kind of happened that led me to the spot. Because like I kind of touched on earlier, I've done everything the exact opposite order that I'm meant to.
Right.
But I had my confidence really kind of shot in winter quarter by a journalism class that I took that we've talked about before off camera, where that conversation will stay.
Right.
But my confidence got really shot, and then at like the end of the quarter, I ran to Jack, and I was like, I had this really great interview at the time. It was the owner of the Blue Room, and I was like telling Jack all about it, and then he was like, Julia, you're ready for the front. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I don't feel like I'm ready. Like, my confidence was just like really down at the time. And he was like, take it.
Yeah, you are.
Do it. He was like, just do it. Just do it. You're going to do great. And at the time, he was the editor-in-chief of the Front, too. So I think hearing that from him, I think, was like, okay, fine. I put the idea in my head. And then had I not had my confidence rebuilt by the Front, also, doing the work that I put into it and had my confidence rebuilt, I wouldn't be editor-in-chief. But as soon as they hired me, it was just like, I just wanted to hit the ground running. Because I was just like, okay, now I got to start thinking of themes. I got to start thinking of pitches. I got to start hiring people. Hiring was the hardest thing in the entire world for me. It was so hard just because it was so many great people that I had to turn away, which, is a great problem to have. But it's also really sad when you turn away those people because it's you have such great potential, but it's just there's also other people who have great potential. It's so hard.
It's really, it's never personal.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's there's so many people that I thought were awesome.
Yeah.
When I did my hiring for when I was EIC, I thought were awesome that I knew would be great, but depending on this circumstance or that circumstance, that was basically out of both mine and theirs control. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
And it's always a bummer, but
yeah.
I really hope. The message to people when you're applying for stuff like the Front, if you're ever thinking about applying for the Front or Clipson, just try again next quarter.
Yeah.
I got turned down twice.
For EIC or for editors?
For editors.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. But then you tried again, and then
third time is a charm.
Third time's a charm, and then you were EIC, so it's
Then I became EIC, and then
persistence.
I was an editor again.
Persistence is powerful.
And then I applied in winter, and I didn't get it.
And it
just all depends on the circumstance.
Yeah, it's nothing ever personal.
No, it's not.
But yeah, once I kind of developed my team, I picked my theme. You and Desi kind of talked about it, but every quarter has its own theme.
Right.
And I picked Uncharted.
Wow.
And so yeah, now it's just kind of getting new.
So what does that theme mean to you? What do you mean by Uncharted? You don't mean the video game. You mean...
No, I don't mean the video game. Do you know how many times I've gotten that every time I tell someone?
That
yes.
awful joke?
Oh, every single time I'm like, yeah, the play theme for the fall is Uncharted, and they go, the video game? And I'm like, no, not the video game. No.
But it's like new discoveries or what?
So initially, when I became editor-in-chief, I had an idea in my head that I wanted fall to be either beginnings or revival, winter to be death, and then spring to be beginning or revival, depending on which one was fall. And then I kind of presented this idea to the editing team, and then they were like, we actually just had an issue called the comeback issue 2 or 3 years ago. So it's probably too soon for us to do something called beginnings or revival because it was so soon. So I was like, darn. So then I was like, okay, what do you guys have? Give me ideas. I want to hear everything. And then one of my editors, Kylie, she said, what about Uncharted Territory? And then I was like, Uncharted. And then I chose that. And then I chose it. But then the more I kind of sat with it, the more I was like, this is such a great theme for the fall, because the way I kind of see it, it's my first quarter of being EIC. It's Jeff's first quarter of being faculty advisor. For the majority of my staff, it's their first quarters being editors. Also, the world is there's always something new to discover in the world.
Right.
Which is why I think Uncharted is so perfect, just for just look at the political state of our world right now. It's kind of nuts.
It's pretty crazy.
But it's the things like those that I want my writers in fall quarter to go out and find, is find the new things, find something new that people are doing. So yeah, that's why Uncharted is kind of the start of the fall, kicking us off into, I don't know what winter and spring's going to be. I haven't thought that far ahead. Riley did something really cool though, who was the ERC before me. She did all C's. So she did chaos, clarity, and choice. Those were hers, which I think is really cool, but I'm not Riley.
That's super cool. I'm really excited to see what
Thank you.
your writers and what you come up with.
Thank you. I'm really excited for them. I think it's going to be a really great quarter. It's going to be a really great year. I think I'm just looking forward to all of it.
How many people usually take the class?
It all depends, honestly. I think the most I've ever seen was 20,
Okay.
and the least I've ever seen was 14.
So a pretty decent.
Yeah, I
number.
think the cap for a class is 22.
Okay.
So yeah, the biggest one is usually fall typically, and then it kind of like shrinks down as the quarter goes on.
And the front is the biggest one.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
Absolutely.
That's like 35
Yeah.
people.
Well, because everyone has to take it, so
Right.
it's like, you know, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna ask you what you're looking forward to, but we can't talk about the planet, I don't think, because we've talked so much about that.
I could
That's
go.
totally what you're looking forward to.
I could go
I guess-
on and on about this.
Well, we have a little bit of time. So before I ask you that, is there anything else about the planet in general, or maybe your issue that you want to highlight or mention or talk about? And if you don't, that's totally okay.
I want to talk about my editing team and just how excited I am for them.
You have the platform to promote them.
Thank you. You know, the thing that kind of really stuck with me when I was going through the hiring process was that the majority of the applicants I got were past planet writers and past planet photographers. And if that kind of speaks volumes to these people love the planet. It's like, it's such a unique experience and people really do love it. And now, you know, I chose like a handful of them and now they're my editors. So specifically for like Isaac and Tori, who are two of my editors, they were writers beforehand. And in Tori's interview, and this like always stuck with me, is that she just talked about how much she just really loved the experience of writing for the planet. Same thing with Isaac. They both like really loved this planet and they were excited to kind of take on this new role. And, you know, I think the unique thing about the planet as opposed to like the other two is our editorial staff. Because we're all on for usually a year, we get a lot closer than some of the other staff does because there's always kind of like the changing of the guard. A lot of the times people will stay, like they'll get rehired, but there's usually like a changing of the guard at some point, and then there's usually like the song and dance of trying to figure things out. With the planet, we're all just like one big cohesive unit, and we're all so close. And I love my editors. They make me happy, and it makes me happy that they love this planet as much as I do. So, yeah, I love them. They're great. Oh, yeah.
It's exciting.
It is really exciting.
It's great.
Yeah.
Do you have anything besides that you're looking forward to?
I've been in like this kind of mindset of just like really healing myself. I'm just like, I'm fresh off of a breakup as we're recording this. I don't think I actually told you that. Surprise! Surprise! So yeah, it's just like a lot of like healing myself physically and also like mentally. And it's a lot of that energy that I want to bring into this next upcoming year. It's also my last year of college, which I'm really looking forward to. I graduate and it's so scary. It's so exciting. And the planet obviously is like the big thing I'm looking forward to. It's like my... I love this publication so much. So yeah, I think it's like the whole seeing what's next in my life is the main thing I'm looking forward to because there's so much I could do with my life. I just don't know what. Yeah.
Have fun.
Have fun.
I am also kind of taking time for myself and enjoying my break from school and I mean I'm still working, but like intense work.
Yeah,
to just kind of do personal stuff, and it's been awesome.
Yeah. Taking a break is really powerful. It really is.
Great reset.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that's about it.
That's it.
Thanks for coming, Julia.
Thanks for having me, Finn.
Thanks for bringing your magazine.
Thanks for letting me talk about the planet.
I'm so excited.
People don't let me do that usually.
I'm so excited to see your issue in a year.
Thank you.
Not a year. 8 months.
8 months, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Bye, everyone.